All right, now if we're talking football, we got to talk Thursday night football.
Excited for this one.
This is a big one. Some of these Thursday night games, I'm not going to lie, bro. I mean, we're always honest. We're always like, well, that's all right. This is a big one. Bengals at the Big Crab Cake. I know you like when I call it that. At the Ravens.
You're the only person that calls it that, right? M&T Bank?
I am.
It's fair.
George asked me one day, he goes, is that really a thing or do you just say that? I said, I just do it. I just do it.
Yeah.
Bengals at Ravens. Bengals look like they got their shack together. Oh, you're not buying it?
I mean, it's been the Giants, the Deshaun Watson-led Cleveland Browns.
The plot thickens.
And the Las Vegas Raiders, who literally just fired everyone except for Antonio Pierce. So, like, who are they beating? Yeah. Then they face Philly, and they're like nothing. They're lifeless against them. They were a get-right game for Philly. Last 2 times we saw this matchup, we saw 79 points, 9 touchdowns between Lamar and Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
We saw almost 1,000 yards in a single game, and we saw an overtime game-winning field goal by Justin Tucker. It was a 41-38 final in OT, where Lamar almost blew the game by messing up the shotgun fumble, but it was recovered. We saw Lamar make unbelievable plays, so it's entertaining. But that was 4 games ago, and what I'm seeing from Baltimore week by week, game by game, compared to Cincy, I just have the belief in Baltimore. There's gonna be a 38 in this game. It's gonna be from the Ravens. I don't think Cincy breaks 24 on this one. The Ravens just beat the Broncos 41-10. That Broncos defense is top 3 in the league. Yeah, and I've said it. In
at
7
home,
straight,
by the way.
In 7 straight scoring drives, they did 441 yards and 41 points on a team that was allowing 280 yards and 16 points a game. What are they going to do against the Bengals, who are one of the softest defenses in the league? Yeah. So Derrick
Henry is what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen.
He didn't even run all over Cincy last time.
Not last time.
But I think he had like 92 carries, 92 yards on like 13, 15 carries.
So he was effective.
The volume wasn't even there.
Right. Yeah. He was effective, but the volume wasn't there.
Baltimore's pick your poison. Yes. Bad secondary. Diontae Johnson gets his footing. Zay Flowers been good. Lamar eats.
I like the Johnson addition, by the way. I don't think he's some great wide receiver, but I think on that team in particular, with that core, they need guys that can play. And I think he's okay. And I think we'll find out how good he is now, because he's in a place where we can actually see it.
Every team is like, do we want to put up with the headache of Diontae Johnson? Do we want to put up? There is John Harbaugh. There is Mike Tomlin.
Lamar.
There is Jim Harbaugh.
Yep.
There are coaches around the league that can make that headache go away and make them lock in and play.
Quarterbacks too.
And he's one of them. And quarterbacks, Lamar's one of them.
I'll give Lamar credit. I don't think Lamar gets enough credit. We were just talking about this with Joel Embiid, right? I think Lamar's a great leader. And I don't know if he gets enough credit for that. All right, with all that being said, I got this game wrong. I gambled on the Bengals the last time these two played. And my whole reasoning was because the game was in the jungle, because it was in Cincy. And I said back then, when I didn't hit the bet, when this swings back around to Baltimore, I'll be betting on the Ravens. And here I am. And I'm going to tell you something. I'm not going to lay all these points in this game. I do think I am buying the Bengals being hot lately. I do believe. I hear you with the schedule. I can't argue that. But you can only play who's in front of you. And by the way, the season was over for the Bengals. They were finished. Stick a fork in them. They're done. And all they've done now, despite the record, you play who's on your schedule. Yeah. But what they've done is they've scratched and they've clawed their way back into the AFC wildcard picture. I still don't think they're going to make it. Yeah. But I have to give them credit for even being here. So, with that being said, I'm willing to give you a score. I'm going to go 34-30 Ravens. Bengals cover. Great game. Lamar down the stretch is a difference. Derrick Henry has a great game. I just think he's going to run all over these guys. I think Derrick Henry carries the game and Lamar makes the plays down the stretch that wins it for Baltimore. But I think you're sleeping a bit on the momentum that the Bengals have. Can't argue the schedule. I won't do that because you're right. But the momentum is there. The team is believing that they can make a playoff push. This is as big of a test as you're going to find. They've already climbed out of a hole to a certain extent, and now you're on the road against the creme de la creme and the Ravens. They got to have it. I think they come up short, but I think it's a closer game than you. I'll go 34-30. And look, I will bet on any Derrick Henry rushing prop. I can get my hands on.
Anytime touchdowns, like almost minus 300.
Okay, except that one.
Exactly.
What's
Which
2 touchdowns?
I know. Exactly. I think 2 touchdowns, it's a nice number.
All right, I'll go 2 touchdowns.
No, I hear you. But Vegas and the spread speaks to me more about Cincy than Baltimore. You go back, their last meeting, it was a 2.5 point spread.
Yeah.
Bengals were the dogs. It's 6.5 now.
Yeah, it is. Because of Baltimore.
Huge difference.
I think it's a home field.
Also because of Cincinnati. Yeah, the home field.
So you're saying Vegas feels the way you do, that it's fool's. Yeah. It's a schedule. It's fool's gold.
Yeah, exactly. That's 2 scores is a lot. But even think, and you talk about the momentum, the same thing. What does that shootout win against the Commanders do for Baltimore?
Sure.
7-win Commanders team.
Sure.
What does them absolutely dominating Denver? After, and I know they lost to the Browns, Kyle Hamilton picks a ball off. They've won 7 straight.
Yeah.
That's what we'll be talking about with this Baltimore team. 7 straight wins. They know this. The awareness is there. They've beaten Tampa, who's a banged-up defense too and a struggling team as well, so I'm not going to paint them up. They've run Buffalo off the field. This Baltimore team has been a top 3 team in the league week in, week out for so many weeks. And this Baltimore team, this Bengals team is just...
Okay, listen to this. 1, 2, 3. They have 4 games before the bye week, the Ravens do. Listen to this hellacious schedule. So you get the Bengals at home.
At home.
You go to Pittsburgh.
That's a tough one.
You go to the Chargers. That's a Monday nighter.
Ooh.
And then you're home against the Eagles. Your next 4 games. I mean, look, we say, okay, this is a big test to see if the Bengals are fugazi or not.
Yeah.
But the fact is, we're also going to learn a lot about the Ravens over the next 4 games, too.
If anything, the best thing is that this is on a short week, so they're not looking ahead to that Steelers matchup. Because now it is a divisional matchup, so they're going to take the Bengals serious no matter what. Yeah, you can't look ahead
anyway.
And it is Joe Burrow, but it's on a short week. That keeps him even more locked in on the Cincinnati team.
Yeah, you can't look ahead in these divisional games.
And even the Broncos game, they're blowing them out. Like they pulled the starters at the end. This
smart
rested team.
That's smart. Boy, that is a hellacious schedule, though.
That is tough.
I think they beat the Bengals.
Chargers,
they could lose that Steeler game. The way the Steelers are playing right now, they could lose that game.
In Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
Especially the upgrades Pittsburgh just made to their defense.
I don't think the Chargers have enough offensively, and I can't trust the Eagles. I mean, if you go 2-2 or 3-1 in that stretch, you're a bona fide Super Bowl team, which is what the Ravens are.
The catch is that this Baltimore defense is pretty much down the middle. Yeah. And again, a game that finished at 79, massive total for a short week Thursday night, 52.5.
Wow.
And both of us have the over though.
Yeah.
I'm going 38-20. You're going 34-30.
34-30.
So we see high 50s into the 60s for this. And even it could be Baltimore doing the heavy lifting. I see mid to high 50s as well. If someone is stuck I think Baltimore, I like them at home, but the defense, you go over in this one, I wouldn't hate it.
I'll tell you one thing. You can never go wrong betting on Baltimore at home. It's really that simple. By the way, I brought up the Bengals chasing for the wild card. I'm looking right now at the current playoff standings. George, they're right there. The Chargers right now, if the playoffs were to start today, would have that final wild card spot. They're 5-3. Bengals are 4-5, right behind them.
Yeah.
They're in the cluster there with the Denver Broncos, the Colts, who no one believes in, and then the Bengals, and then the Jets.
The reflection on the AFC North is that Baltimore is the 3rd best team in the league, but they're not first in their division. Pittsburgh is. Pittsburgh has that actual playoff spot.
Do you think the Ravens are the best team in that division, though?
Yeah.
Me too.
I do.
And by the way, this is coming from a guy who just told you I think the Steelers will probably beat the Ravens next week. They are legit. But I still think the Ravens are the better team.
Lamar with Derrick Henry, the addition of Diontae Johnson.
Jeez.
We'll see what they do personnel-wise. I mean, Diontae only played like 7-8 snaps for the Ravens when they won by 31. And that game, too, again, going up against one of the best defenses in the league.
Yeah.
Baltimore was favored by 9.
Jeez.
Only 6.5. Less than a touchdown.
You're laying the points.
Against a really soft defense.
I'll take the Bengals to cover. I'll take the Ravens to win. You're laying the points. GB for the record, 38-20?
Yeah.
38-20 Ravens, 34-30 Ravens here. We both have the Ravens, and we both think Derrick Henry goes